another thing I think that's driving a lot of this is the fact that, for at least as of their most recently reported quarter, trailing
That
12
was
months,
actually
their earnings is down to 2012 levels. So they also reported, two press releases actually came out last week. Not one for the store closing, some of the layoffs, but also around their holiday sales, which really came in weak. So they're expecting for, the obviously very important November and December months, sales to fall maybe 2 to 3%. They actually came in at comparable stores down 4.7% for the holiday season. So really, really hurting there. And also, the fact that, this warm weather that everybody's been talking about hurting apparel retailers, the fact that Macy's and Bloomingdale's, they have a lot of representation in the regions that were hit with the really warm weather.
Do you buy that? Because if it's warm outside, I'm more likely to leave my house. But on the other hand, I'm not going to buy a jacket.
You're not buying a jacket. You're not buying your sweater, your scarves, your gloves, all things that a lot of these retailers, including Macy's, including Bloomingdale's,
they count on because it's a $200 jacket.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, the fact that, the U.S. The value of the U.S. dollar is still hurting their spending among tourists who will go to some of their flagship locations, like you mentioned in New York,
and then
for
they'll
example.
spend less or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So, keeping all that in mind, we mentioned the $375 million of revenue that they'll be losing as a result of closing the stores. But they're also really focused, or those layoffs, like we mentioned, the $400 million is going to generate about $400 million in reductions to the SG&A expenses. Really big for them, again, to help bring up or to reduce those expenses for them to get that net income higher, that net income number higher, since it has fallen to those 2012 levels. Ultimately, the company says on a brighter note, in terms of the holiday season, they mentioned that they had 17 million online orders at their Macy's and Bloomingdale's websites during the holidays. So that's up 25% from the previous year. So some progress where they're focused, right? And also, the stock's at $38 per share. It's up about 10% year to date. I think on some of this news that people think is really important to push the company into its a new era.
Right.
But it's really a bargain right now. And you and I were talking about this before the show.
It's like a 9.
It's trading at 10 times forward earnings, and there's a 4% yield on the shares. That's pretty.
The PE on the S&P last I checked, the S&P 500 index right now. So the average 500 largest corporations in America is like 20.
Exactly.
Like this is. And they're still expected to grow through the end of the decade, last I checked. So
so the growth rates are definitely low, maybe in low single digits. But the fact of the matter is, this is Macy's, this is Bloomingdale's, like very strong bellwether names in the apparel industry. And yes, they're having their struggles, but you can't honestly expect that as they close some of their weaker locations that this weather is going to last forever, that the dollar is going to trade like this even forever. So long term, man, this seems like a really, really solid place to jump in right now and just watch the stock as they hopefully are able to execute on their recovery and their new growth plan.
Awesome.